are probably doing their own live hits. Some of them are probably still inside the courtroom right now, just kind of waiting to see what's about to happen. What we do know is that, and I'm pretty sure you've probably already reported on this, Jesse, is that they've finally and officially selected a four-person. So that's probably the biggest news that we've come out since the jury's gone back to that room to start their deliberations. But I'd love to bring on some of the friends. Like, we should bring in like all 21 of us and have just one big giant like live shot and conversation. But if I can find someone, I might bring them on. Who knows? Just stick around and stay tuned.
If you try to get 21 people onto this live shot, our control room's going to have a heart attack. So I'm going to probably advise against. Yeah, they're going to have a heart attack. So I'm going to advise against that. Let me ask you this. Jury instructions can be rather bland. I think they are so important in this kind of case. Was there anything that stood out to you today about them? I think the judge even said, I'm going to try to make it a little interesting for you. Was it interesting? Was there anything that stood out to you? Maybe it was about the racketeering charge. Maybe it was about sex trafficking. As I mentioned before, I thought it was interesting, how to weigh witnesses who testified under a pseudonym, witnesses who testified under an immunity agreement. What stood out to you?
Yeah, well, definitely the judge was like, oh, well, I'm going to try to make this interesting, but no offense to the judge at all. It wasn't as interesting as I think he probably wanted to make it for the jury, but he did do it in a pretty quick speed to the point where I was like, oh, this is it. And then they're done. Then they went back to deliberate. But I think some of the points that kind of stood out to me was, one, that these jurors have to be impartial. Two, I think another thing that stood out was just the indictment versus how important the.
So this is wild. You hear always, everyone knows that jurors are supposed to be impartial. What I find so interesting is that before any of this happened, before he got indicted, before they picked him up, they showed a video of Diddy freaking manhandling the chick. So it's like, how is it possible that you guys have impartial jurors? And you see this very often with the court of public opinion. They release information or they release footage on a person that they're going after in order to sway people's impression of the figure. And I'm not saying Diddy's a good guy, right? Diddy, he could be scum of the earth. He could be, a woman beater. He could be all sorts of things. He's a degenerate. He likes to compile stocks of baby oil. But the question is he guilty? That's the question, because a lot of people misinterpret the justice system, and it's very, very specific, right? If you're being, held up against certain charges, the point is to find out, is the person guilty of those charges brought forth? It's not to find out, is he a bad guy? It's not to find out if he's, a bad boyfriend, bad husband. Is he guilty of what he's being charged of? And in my opinion, I think he's going to go free, because what they are charging him of, or what they are charging him for, I don't believe they have a strong case, personally. But just interesting to watch this whole thing unfold.
Indictment is to the actual.
This is not the topic of the live stream today. The topic is, Diddy's cellmate is who? And this is why people go down rabbit holes, ladies and gentlemen. This is peak rabbit hole content right here. Yesterday, I randomly stumbled upon this hilarious turn of events. Hilarious. This is peak rabbit hole content, ladies and gentlemen. So who do you think Diddy's cellmate is? Check this out.
Whiz kid turned crypto fraudster Sam Bankman-fried giving a new interview from prison.
As ABC's Andrea Fujii reports, it turns out he's now roommates with rapper Sean Diddy Combs.
This morning, the former poster boy of crypto, who prosecutors said perpetrated one of the biggest financial frauds in history, is speaking out from behind bars. Sam Bankman-fried, co-founder of FTX, talking to Tucker Carlson.
It's sort of dystopian.
I can't get over how bro sounds. Why does he sound like that, man? This is just crazy. So this is Sam Bankman-fried. You may remember him from such films as Crypto Scammer. No, but he's not a movie star. He's a real deal crypto fraudster. He got convicted, I believe, a couple years ago. He had a huge crypto firm. It was, I guess, comparable to an ETF, but a crypto version. I love Tucker's face, man. Freaking hilarious. But yeah. So this guy sounding gay as hell, lisping all over the place, and he did his cellmate. I can't make this up.
You know, the fortunate thing, the place I'm in, I'm not in physical danger.
How you doing, Sam?
Not from anyone outside the cell.
2023, Bankman-Fried was convicted in connection with his cryptocurrency exchange firm stealing $8 billion of customer money.
$8 billion. So I remember a lot of celebrities were promoting this guy. I believe Tom Brady had invested. A lot of big celebrities, A-list celebrities, had backed this guy and invested in his new crypto. At the time, it was like this groundbreaking crypto firm, and it was going to be the next biggest thing. And I'm very happy that I'm so skeptic, because my skepticism, yes, it may hinder me in some situations, but overall, it's a net positive. Complete net positive, folks. Great skepticism, keeping me safe from these type of scammers.
He was sentenced to 25.
It's the same as the NFT dudes. Like, I remember years ago, a bunch of people were buying NFTs, dropping tens of thousands of dollars. They were going to be the next millionaires. And I remember not understanding. Like, if I don't understand something, I'm not going to dive in and pretend I understand it just because people that I worship, or celebrities, or people I hold on high regard. Not saying I do hold celebrities on a pedestal, but people that I respect vouch for something. I'm not just going to jump in blind if I don't understand it myself. But a lot of people jumped in this whole NFT thing because you had all these, people backing it. And where are they now? These things are near worthless.
5 years in prison. Now, in a surprising twist, he says he shares a dormitory-style bunk with music mogul and accused sex trafficker Sean Diddy Combs.
Can you believe this, guys? Can't make this up. Bankman-fried is cellmates with freaking Sean Diddy Combs,
who just yesterday was charged with a new indictment related to his alleged scheme to force his employees into sex.
He's been kind to people in the unit. He's been kind to me.
I bet he's been real kind, giving you snacks, giving you back rubs.
It's a position no one wants to be in.
What kind of position is that? Oh, not that there's anything wrong with that, folks.
Bankman-Fried says he's working on his appeal, reading novels and playing chess with other inmates, adding he regrets the things he's done.
Obviously, I feel terrible about what happened.
What is he talking about here? He's talking about the cell activity. He regrets what he's done in the cell with Diddy.
It's not at all what I intended,
Right.
and what everyone's intentions are.
Bankman-Fried was also ordered to pay more than $11 billion. He'll be 57 when he gets out of prison. As for Sean Combs, he goes on trial in May and denies the charges.
Guys, this is not AI. There's a lot of AI news reports going around. This is WQAD, News 8, ABC affiliate, 111K subscribers, folks. This is real news. I think they put him in with Diddy to punish him with his voice. Why is he still in the same jail as Diddy? Yo, this is wild. Like his voice missed puberty. Damn. Bankman-fried. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yo, this guy literally thought he was going to be president someday. No, I think you thought he was going to be president someday. Bankman-fried. Is he a chipmunk? So it's not just me here, folks. It's not just me. I'm not making this up. His voice is woo, woo, woo. Well,
separation in that you shouldn't be taking the indictment as just
Sure,
the
you'll
word
keep
and
thing
that's
on
just the say so and that's how
on
things
old
go.
boy
I think also the
Bankman-Fried.
jury, you know, because we discussed this earlier, Jesse, about whether or not
Folks
will
that
the jury
forgot who
have
he
in their
is.
mind that the defense didn't put up any witnesses, that the defendant didn't testify in his own defense. But the judge, according to his instructions, said you can't take that into accountability because, or take that into account, I should say, only because the burden of proof is all on the government. The burden of proof is all on the prosecution, and they are the ones who have to
Burden of
case.
proof.
Because, you know, and just
Burden of proof is on the prosecution, folks. This is, you know, I see a lot of people online. They're very emotional. A lot of women, right? You show women a video of a chick getting tossed around, they'll throw anybody in jail. It's like, I get it. The guy, you know, that's not a ideal situation. You know, I don't condone smacking around chicks. But is he guilty of what they're accusing him of? That's the question. He's not there for domestic issues. He's not being tried for beating up a chick. He's being tried for trafficking. He could be a far cry from a trafficker. That's all I'm saying.
what a lot of people may want to assume is that Sean Combs is not guilty, or excuse me, he's innocent until proven guilty. And so I think a lot of people, especially the jurors, have to keep in mind that, you know, they may have had thoughts in their head, but until they all have that discussion over at that table, I think it's a round table too, in that quiet room, in the courtroom, for that matter, I think that they all have to kind of really talk through everything. That just because we outside in the press who have been covering this case since the start may have our opinions about things, but it's up to these 12 jurors, these 4 women and these 8 men, to decide what is the fate of Sean Diddy Combs, and it's up to them to be making that decision.
Yeah.
Bankman-fried went from a
Crypto billionaire to bankruptcy.
The Southern District of New York has confirmed the arrest of FTX founder Sam Bankman-fried,
the once crowned king of crypto, now adorned in handcuffs.
In the month of November 2022, one of the biggest tales of financial fraud was unraveling.
This is worse than Theranos. This is worse than Madoff.
And it all centered around one man, and a web of lies spun over the course of a few years.
The devil in nerd's clothing.
A stunning fall from someone who is what's considered crypto's golden boy.
Can you believe this? This crypto golden boy is Diddy's cellmate. Can't make this up.
who believe he's just a pathological liar.
I remember watching it unfold and wondering how.
Everyone seemed to believe it, from Wall Street to celebrities.
There's my boy Sam from FTX.
And even Washington, D.C.
His FTX team were among the top political donors.
Everybody and their mama was promoting this dude.
Multi-billion-dollar class action lawsuit accuses FTX, its former CEO, and around a dozen celebrities of causing some $11 billion
Shaq. You saw Steph Curry there.
in U.S. investor losses.
Over the last few months, I wanted to find the pieces of the puzzle that had managed.
What's funny is these celebrities, they face no backlash for these types of situations. They could just say, oh, I was duped. Ho, ho, ho. Oopsie. Oopsies. This is why I never worshipped celebrities. I never was one of these guys that walked around with a jersey with some other dude's name on it. Look, I'm not judging anybody, right? But me personally, you know, and it was once my grandfather who told me this. He said, look, because I was talking about some hockey player or something. This was many years ago. I was a young child. And my grandfather said that I had asked him if he knew a specific hockey player. And I was, you know, trying to shame him, like, yo, you never heard of him? You never heard of so-and-so? He just goes, has he heard of me? Has that dude heard of me? You know, and that really stuck with me because so many people, they spend so much money, they spend so much time and effort walking around with a dude's name on their back. They buy tickets, they buy all the merch. I get it. It's cool. It's nice to have interests and, you know, like sports or whatever, but then to copy these people's moves, right? When they promote a crypto, you're jumping on the crypto. It's just, you know, you guys got to think for yourselves. It's crazy.
To fool so many. But what I found was a story that left people broken.
It felt like everything I worked up to this point in my life has been...
That guy, you know, got away. He living in Fiji.
Swept away.
His blurred out face.
And my biggest fear, that this is not over. Some people think this story begins and ends with Sam Bankman-fried, but that's wrong. It is doomed to repeat itself.
It's absolutely doomed to repeat itself. You see it happen There was the whole scandal with No Jumper, right? Or you have the other girl, the Hawk Tuah girl. People idolize these figures, and then they just it's like they lose all critical thought. You know, this person invests in a crypto. Oh, I'm gonna invest in it too. Not even taking into consideration that maybe, just maybe, perhaps, there's a company paying them to promote this thing. They might have not even invested themselves, right?
First, for the last 3 years, I've been using Notion on a daily basis, who are also the sponsors for today's video.
Yeah, you know who else has been using Lotion for the last 30 days? Sam Bankman-fried.
Notion essentially gives you a place to store your...
He said Notion. I heard lotion.
Your notes, your to-do list, your goals, and just about anything that's inside of your head all in one place. So here is an example that I'm able to continue creating them. People want to make money, and they want to make it fast. It can be out of greed, it can be out of desperation, but if you tell someone that there is a box that they can put their money into, and that box will return back tenfold what you gave it.
We was about to... Yeah, it's pure greed. It's honestly pure greed, because most of these people don't understand how markets work. Like, I'm actually in shock the amount of people that quote unquote invest or they trade. It's usually crypto, and they don't understand the idea of market cap. If the market cap will not double, your money will not double. So if you're looking at a crypto that has a $500 trillion market cap, and you put in 3 cents thinking that it's going to become $1 million, you will never have $1 million unless that market cap, which is all those trillions of dollars, does the multiplier. So however many times it takes for your money to become a million, like if you put 10K in something, right, you need X amount of multiplier for it to become a million, right? 10K is 4 zeros, so you need 100X, right? So you need your 10K to 100X in order to get your $1 million, if my math serves me correctly. So that means the coin you are investing in, this is the same with stocks, the security you are investing in, the market cap has to 100X in order for you to have your $1 million. People don't understand that. I don't get it.
To 2021, the world of cryptocurrencies had become that box for regular people.
What is Bitcoin? What is up with Bitcoin? People are getting rich from it. Everyone's chasing it. Bitcoin is going up forever, Deirdre. Forever.
The mentality was simple. You think of crypto, you think of getting rich.
He became a
People, going back to that getting rich, like people think if the coin or the stock is worth 3 cents and I buy 10,000 of them, that if it goes to $1, you're going to have $10,000. You will, but you have to do the math with the market cap. For it to get, it's not just because it has a small price per each coin or per each stock that it's going to go to $1 and make you rich. It's really based on market cap, because you have some things, some securities, some cryptos that have a market cap of $10 billion, but the crypto cost is 1/10 of a cent. So that 1/10 of a cent is never going to become $1 because it's already worth X amount, billions of dollars of market cap. So those billions of dollars would have to 10X, 100X, 1000X in order for you to make that money.
millionaire at 24, all by investing in Bitcoin. I made millions with crypto. You probably made millions as well.
We all knew someone that never talked about investing before and suddenly saying how they're putting their money into crypto, that it's the future.
From a struggling music producer.
And these people always talk about it being the future and they don't understand it. That's the funniest thing. I personally don't think crypto is the future. I still trade it. You know, there's money to be made. I'm not saying you have people that say it's a scam. They don't understand it either. It's not a scam. You could put your money in, you could make tons of money, but you have to understand the trading techniques. You have to understand how trading works. You have to understand how to swing, how to, grab it low and sell high. A lot of people, they do the opposite. They see green and they want to buy out of FOMO. They have fear of missing out. So they see green and they're like, oh, I'm going to buy this because it's going to continue being green to the moon. No, you're supposed to buy when something's crashing. When something's dumping, that's when you buy it because you're going to make money when it swings back up.
Up to a millionaire.
This is basically winning the lottery.
Become the next crypto millionaire.
Even celebrities were getting into it.
You have jumped into the world of cryptocurrency.
I'm going to tweet out the information on how you can buy
Ellen. What a mess. Anyone following Ellen is pretty doomed, let me tell you.
this NFT.
Look at this.
They look like they could be friends.
They're the NFTs. Look at these dudes. Egg on their face, all of them. Paris Hilton, I bet you didn't buy any NFTs. It's always people like this lame over here. Telling you about something they don't understand. And no backlash, zero. Mind you, this all took place during COVID, so it's like people had bigger problems, so that's how people got away with this stuff. But it's just funny. No, people have like amnesia. Nobody, it's like if someone advises you of something and it goes horribly wrong, wouldn't you pivot next time and not jump on board to what they're promoting? But it's like people just have no memory. It's unbelievable.
Your buddy.
The question really became
Gwyneth Paltrow, Reese Witherspoon. Crypto is here to stay. I'm committed to supporting creators who've pioneered the NFT space. Like, does that even sound like she wrote this herself? And encouraging more women to be part of the conversation. Pure pandering. Pure, like, you really think she wrote this herself?
How do I get my piece of the pie? To understand the story that's about to unfold, I feel like the Super Bowl of 2022 is the best place to start. Not because of the sports, but because of the ad breaks. An advert appears featuring Larry David, an actor who hasn't been in a commercial ever. The ad takes you through various inventions in history: the wheel, toilets, coffee, voting, light bulbs. At each stage of a new invention, it shows how many critics dismissed and laughed at them, only to be proven wrong.
See, this is the type of techniques they use, right? They show you, oh yeah, every great invention, innovation, or item that we use in modern society at one point was laughed at one point was looked down upon, and the inventor was seen as crazy or unhinged. Okay, that's true, but you know what else was criticized and laughed at? Everything that failed. So I get it. Everything that made it was laughed at, but there are a lot of things that didn't make it that also got laughed at.
Can I be honest with you? It stinks.
However, the real twist of this ad came at the end.
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
And Larry responds,
safe, easy, safe, effective. Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't think so.
And there it is. Big bold letters. Don't miss out on crypto, NFTs, the next best thing, and right next to it, the logo. If you wanted to buy crypto, most regular people would have to do it through a cryptocurrency exchange. Think of it like a central location that you deposit your money into, and from there you can place orders to buy and sell cryptocurrencies. The exchange's job is to match you with those buyers and sellers. And once you've made your riches, you withdraw your money from the exchange into your bank account. They are the easiest gateways into the world of crypto, accessible from the very phones in your pocket. Within the top 3 cryptocurrency exchanges at the time, you had Binance at number 1, owned by a guy called Changpeng Zhao, nicknamed CZ. In second, you had Coinbase, owned by a man named Brian Armstrong. And then finally, FTX.
I'm excited to be partnering with FTX.
If you're wondering, well, what is FTX?
FTX is like the best exchange.
They're a safe exchange where people can trade things like cryptocurrency.
FTX is hands down best exchange on the market, Peter. You see, like, these guys were not, there's no way they were writing these tweets themselves.
The first crypto company to win naming rights to a major U.S. arena.
FTX is a platform where they offer 85% lower fees than their top competitors.
They have the most coins. They have giveaways, so they give free coins.
Where are those fees now?
FTX is the best crypto exchange in the world with no fixed fees. But this week, I actually want to tell you about Sam.
He's the young super billionaire and founder of the FTX exchange.
And so we arrive at Sam Bankman-fried, nickname SBF.
All right, Sam, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Sam Bankman-fried. I'm the CEO and co-founder of FTX.
Did you ever imagine that at 25, when you got involved, you would now be one of the most important people in the crypto world and have become a multi-billionaire?
No, no, although...
Not only one of the nicest people in crypto, but one of the smartest as well. SBF, thanks.
And this just goes to show you that these compliments, these are false compliments. You see, because these guys, he went on a tour. Everybody's show was telling you how smart he was, how innovative he was. They didn't even know this dude. This is why you can't take these people seriously. They're vouching for a dude they just met last week. Can you imagine? And people invested their life savings into this because a person they trust, I don't know who the heck this guy is, but someone who watches Yahoo Finance regularly, this is their guy. They take this guy's word for it. This guy knows what he's talking about, right? And he's vouching for this mofo. And he just met the dude. He might have not even met him because they're doing a voice video call. Unbelievable.
For taking the time out of your day down in the Bahamas to join us. How you doing over there?
At only 30 years old, this guy had an estimated net worth of $26 billion. I mean, Forbes had already done an article on him. Save for Mark Zuckerberg, no one in history has ever gotten so rich so young.
Sam is a genius, an effective altruist, and he's also the wealthiest person under 30 in the world.
His hair was disheveled, his clothes...
He's a genius, he's an altruist. Who's validating these claims? That's what I want to know. This is why, you know, they talk about there's a sucker born every minute. If you're inclined to dive in to a major investment based on the things that strangers tell you, these are strangers. They've never met you. They don't know you, your wife, your kids, your family. They don't know your uncles and aunts. They never came to the barbecue. And you're going to take their advice for what reason? Because other people have given you their advice on that individual. It's just it's a chain. It's a pyramid scheme of rapport. It's a pyramid scheme of rapport.
Usually consisted of loose-fitting t-shirts and
everybody vouching for everybody else, and nobody knows the original person that vouched for the guy. It's unbelievable.
Pair of shorts. You'd see pictures of him sleeping on beanbags in his office.
You trust the guy more when you see the car he drives. He's worth like $20 billion or something.
First of all,
you trust the guy more based on the car he drives. These are real quotes.
His appearance, he's only 29 years old, and he typically wears a t-shirt or a sweatshirt that has the FTX logo on it, khaki shorts.
Very often when people get wealthy, they buy fancy suits and so forth. You haven't gone to that phase yet, right?
Not so much. He sounds a little bit like most tech bros I went to college with, not showering a ton, a really messy desk.
He was very much the tech nerd genius stereotype. When you searched him up online, you would see pictures with him and celebrities like Tom Brady, with politicians like Bill Clinton and Tony Blair.
I mean, very trustworthy people. I can't believe someone that Bill Clinton and Tony Blair vouched for was actually a fraudster. That to me is shocking.
Then you find out that FTX was founded in 2019. In other words, nobody knew who this guy was a few years ago.
I spoke with Sam earlier this month where he alluded to his plans to give most of his fortune away.
This is just basic common sense, you know, and they always say common sense is not common. I'm astonished. When I look around at the world, I'm astonished at the things people believe. I don't know if it was my upbringing or just the fact that I'm black. Black people are very skeptic in general because everyone's trying to get over on them. Just kidding. But I see a lot of people that just believe anything, especially if it comes from a source that they trust, a source that didn't necessarily earn their trust, like a celebrity. I understand you may like people. There are a lot of celebrities that I think are cool or I like their music, but I don't think that these people are trustworthy. How would I know that? I've never met them. There are people who have met them that don't even know if they're trustworthy or not.
Biggest advantage was this image he had built himself, an image of a billionaire dedicated to giving his wealth away. What's not to love about that?
The guy you see next to me is the most generous billionaire in the world.
Do you have a sense of how much of your fortune you'd be willing to give away in the end?
In the end, I think almost all of it, right? Like, I'm not particularly
You got that right. How much he's willing to give away. Oh, he gave away his fortune, let me tell you.
excited.
I am almost sure that he has some, he made tens of billions of dollars. So he's definitely got a couple bill squirreled away. Here's the big question. Would you guys willingly go to prison for 20, 30 years, knowing that you have $1.2 billion, $2.5 billion stashed away somewhere? Would you do it? You think it's worth it? I mean, look, the average person works their life away for 40, 50 years and they retire with a couple $100,000. With inflation, that ain't no money, as Gucci Mane said, and that ain't no effing money, right? So would you essentially do a similar thing where you are in captivity for 30, 40 years or 20, 30 years. But when you leave, you have a couple $1 billion. I don't know.
You know, to dive into luxury, I'm not excited
Seems legit.
about yachts.
A crypto billionaire plans to give away 99% of his money.
What about your own legacy, Sam? What impact would you want to leave on the world?
In the end, my goal is to do as much as I can for the world.
It's too bad he sounds like, you know, we'll say he sounds like he's not into women, because that chick was feeling him. This chick, he had action at this chick, let me tell you. This chick.
Around May of 2022, a guy called Mark Cohodes starts publicly broadcasting his
Away in the end?
In the end, I think almost all of it, right? Like, I'm not particularly excited to, you know, to dive into luxury. I'm not excited about yachts.
A crypto billionaire plans to give away 99% of his money.
What about your
This chick. I could just look at a chick, I could see when she's down. This chick.
own legacy, Sam?
This chick was
What
feeling
impact
him.
would you want to leave
Look at her.
on the world?
In the end, my goal is to do as much
Homeboy
as I can
fumbled.
for the world. So I can prove, I mean, to the world that this isn't bullshit, that I really do mean it.
Around May of 2022, a guy called Mark Cohodes starts publicly broadcasting his views about FTX and Sam Bankman-fried on Twitter. In the world of finance, Cohodes is what you would call a short seller, somebody that bets against the success of a company's stock, and if they're right, they make money.
Who is that guy? Why would I trust him? Tom Brady didn't endorse him.
Only a few months after his initial tweets, he had sent an email to Bloomberg asking them to investigate Sam Bankman-fried and FTX. Cohodes was skeptical.
He's got some big cojones, am I right?
And one of his biggest questions was related to Sam and his background. I mean, just who was this guy really? And how did he achieve his status in such a short period of time? It was a fair question.
You know, the fairest questions are judged the harshest, I find.
To save the world, don't get a job at a charity, go work on Wall Street. That was the title of a post on a forum in 2013, 9 years before the Super Bowl of 2022. It was written by a guy called William McCaskill.
I think in that period of time, you know, that was peak COVID time. People were not making very good decisions. They were kind of in a traumatic mind state. And, you know, who knows? Maybe he took advantage of that.
He is the Associate Professor of Philosophy at the University of Oxford, co-founder of the Effective Altruism Movement.
For the last 10 years, my colleagues and I have developed a philosophy and research program.
Bro, that's wild. Homeboy's voice sounds like AI. Homeboy is really up on the stage, but he's sounding like AI. That's crazy.
We call Effective Altruism.
He has pledged to donate everything you earn to organizations he believes will do the most good.
Effective Altruism is a philosophy and a community.
You put anyone like in America, North America, even many European nations, you put anyone with a British voice, people are ready to sell their whole 401k. Dude got a British voice, they think it's Moses in the flesh.
That's about trying to figure out how can we do as much good as possible with the time and money we have.
What it boiled down to, in its simplest form, was figuring out how to make the world a better place using the most evidence-based approach. One strategy was known as earning to give.
You know how you go to a job and they're always like, what experience do you have that's relevant to this job position? I wonder if anyone ever asks someone who wants to fix the world, what is their what's their history? What's their what kind of background do you have fixing the world, sir?
Which meant maximizing your own.
What can you bring to this organization?
Own wealth so that you could give away more to charitable causes, or as others might put it, get filthy rich for charity's sake. He described a student who had been convinced by the philosophy and now works in finance at a trading firm called Jane Street, giving away 50% of his income to charitable causes. In the same year he made that forum post, McCaskill heard of another student at MIT that may be a good fit for the movement, a 24-year-old physics undergraduate who went by the name Sam Bankman-fried. And just like that, Sam Bankman-fried was introduced to effective altruism. He was a mathematics nerd with a passion for utilitarianism and a vegan who already engaged in animal rights activism. McCaskill persuaded Sam.
See, he was a vegan. That's where everyone went wrong. I would have known right away. He told me he's a vegan. I would have been like, ooh, can't trust you, bud.
Instead of working for charity directly, he could make a greater impact by pursuing a high-paying career, then donate a substantial amount of his income to charitable causes. Sam was convinced. And just like the student mentioned in McCaskill's forum post, Sam decides to get a job at the same trading firm known as Jane Street. It was a popular firm amongst other effective altruists. Little did McCaskill realize just how much damage his new convert would cause the movement in the years to come.
If you're in Canada and have over $10,000 of debt, payday loans, credit cards, or lines of credit that you can't pay off or get to zero.
Well, I don't. So there's that.
In the summer of 2021, Sam Bankman-fried gets on a Zoom call with partners of Sequoia Capital, a venture capital firm. These were people who had invested in Apple, Google, Instagram, and I could go on. The point is, Sam was here to talk about FTX in the hopes of convincing Sequoia to invest money into the company. He tells them his vision for the exchange. I want FTX to be a place where you can do anything you want with your next dollar. You can buy Bitcoin. You can send money in whatever currency to any friend anywhere in the world. You can buy a banana. They were impressed. A few months after that Zoom call, they lead a round of investments for FTX, which totaled almost $1 billion. And a year after that Zoom call, 2 months before the collapse, Sequoia Capital releases this 45-page article titled Sam Bankman-fried has a savior complex, and maybe you should too. In that article, they reveal that throughout the Zoom call, Sam had been playing one of his favorite video games, League of Legends. The article goes on to talk about Sam's commitment to the effective altruism movement, and when the author sits down with him for an interview, he becomes convinced that Sam is the real deal. And
do these guys like smoke up before these meetings? That's what I want to know. You know, the guy's so convinced that this guy is the real deal, talking to him for 10 minutes.
They very well become the world's first trillionaire. They even go as far as saying that unlike other crypto companies, FTX has a unique selling point.
Yeah, well, how is that unlike other crypto companies? Every crypto company makes that claim that they have a competitive advantage or a unique selling point. That's every crypto. Even meme cryptos make that claim.
Their ethical behavior. There's this image of who Sam was that people were buying into. An effective altruist, a crypto genius, a nerd who played video games whilst casually pitching billion-dollar investors. Sequoia wasn't some exceptional case. You know, they were just one of the many big institutional names investing into FTX. I mean, we're talking Temasek, SoftBank, BlackRock, Ontario Teachers Pension Fund. Who cares what the big boy institutions are doing, right? I mean, none of that means anything to the average person. Remember, 2021 was the year that everyone saw crypto as this fountain of wealth for those that put their money into it. To reach these people,
yeah, people were desperate in 2021. They were freaking jogging with a mask on in 80-degree heat. They weren't necessarily making the best decisions. I think a lot of people saw that, you know, because you have to understand how elites think, right? Elites, I don't want to give up too much game to the peasants here, but I mean, obviously there are no peasants watching this, only elites. But they see things, they see how people are reacting. They're just thinking like, yo, if people are this dumb, now's the time that I could do my crypto ski potentially.
FTX had to do one thing: get in front of the things that they cared about. The Miami Heat Arena, famous for hosting the Miami Heat NBA team. Well, in March of 2021, it became the FTX Arena after signing a 19-year deal for $135 million with FTX.
Throughout this year, they've been spending big bucks to get mainstream name recognition.
TSM, the popular esports organization most known for their League of Legends team. Forget that. It's TSM FTX now, thanks to a 10-year deal with FTX for $210 million.
FTX is putting their name everywhere.
Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks in football history. Well, he's not.
There are actually rumors that this was the beginning of the unraveling of Tom Brady's marriage, because he had invested so much in this guy. I don't know if that's true, and I don't think there's any way to verify that, but it makes you think, you know, it was a critical moment of the downturn of his marriage. That's for sure. You could look at the timeline.
Only an ambassador for FTX now. He's also given equity in the company, and the same goes for the Brazilian fashion model and Brady's wife at the time, Gisele Bündchen. The entirety of Major League Baseball. Well, thanks to a 5-year partnership, FTX were to become the official cryptocurrency exchange of the MLB. Every single umpire had the FTX logo embroidered on their uniform. Formula One teams, the International Cricket Council, a baseball superstar, the Golden State Warriors.
You guys may have seen their ads. They're everywhere now.
I'm not an expert, and I don't need to be.
And who could forget Kevin O'Leary? One of the sharks on the popular show Shark Tank had been rather critical.
I mean, Kevin O'Leary.
Of the cryptocurrency space.
It's a useless currency. It is a useless currency. To me, it's garbage.
Become the crypto.
That might be Kevin O'Leary's best take. You know, Kevin O'Leary is criticized a lot, but that was a good take. That was a great take.
Boom of 2021, and Kevin signs a $15 million deal with FTX to become an official spokesperson for the exchange.
If there's
You see, Kevin O'Leary getting on board could tell you one of two things. It could tell you, hey, I'm going to jump into this. Or it could tell you that Kevin O'Leary is a freaking idiot. I don't know which one you would get from that. I don't know.
For a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be an FTX.
Even some of the most popular finance influencers who generally gave safe investment advice were taking on sponsorship deals with FTX.
FTX US has been a sponsor here on the channel for the majority of the year.
I love FTX.
Among the cheapest fees out there.
Check out our sponsor, FTX US.
A lot of
These guys have pure egg on their face and zero repercussions. You know, we just saw, you know, that guy's on YouTube, the Kevin guy. I mean, I'm sure these people lost a significant number of their audience after this. They must have. I always wonder, like, where do these people end up? Where do these people that fall for these giant schemes end up? I'm sure a lot of them, you know, are still recovering from that. We're 2025 now. It's been 2-3 years. A lot of these people are still recovering from that. It's fine for Tom Brady, who's still, you know, sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars in his investment portfolio. He's fine. But the average person, some people take out credit to invest in crypto. That to me is the wildest.
Influencers bought into Sam's image just as much as actual institutional investors did. The real question was, how much of that image was real or just a facade? After 3.5 years of working at Jane Street, Sam decides to quit. He had an appetite for risk, and by staying there, he felt like he could be missing out on other opportunities. One of his colleagues at the time, a 22-year-old named Caroline Ellison, witnessed it herself. Just like Sam, she too was an effective altruist with a love for mathematics. She thought it was unusual. I mean, Sam was quitting his high-paying job just because there may be other opportunities out there. Of course, Caroline Ellison had no idea at the time just how much her own career and personal life would become entangled with Sam's. Without a job, Sam starts writing a list of directions for his life. Those things included becoming a journalist, venturing into politics, fundraising for a non-profit, and building a startup. He would go on to achieve almost all of those things. But before making a decision, William McCaskill offers him a job at the Center of Effective Altruism, entangled with Sam.
Do these people look trustworthy? That's my question. Like Sam Bankman-fried and this chick, do they look like trustworthy individuals? I don't know what it is about me that I could look at someone and say, you know, this person looks pretty sketchy, or this person looks shady. You know, people look at this face and they're like, yeah, that's where I want to put all of my life savings.
Without a job, Sam starts writing a list of directions for his life. Those things included becoming a journalist.
I guess it's because she looks nerdy or something. Nerdy people are trustworthy. I don't get it.
Venturing into politics, fundraising for a non-profit, and building a startup. He would go on to achieve almost all of those things. But before making a decision, William McCaskill offers him a job at the Center of Effective Altruism, a company for the EA movement to conduct various activities. And whilst there, he befriends another member of the movement, a woman by the name of Tara McCauley, who was head of operations. That's when Sam started noticing something.
Overall, biggest winner today, Bitcoin rallied more than 10% today. It's up 438% for 2017.
The cryptocurrency has pushed past $7,000.
Just crossed the $16,000 threshold.
It is, in the next 20 years, $1 million.
At this point, Sam didn't have much of an interest in cryptocurrencies, but in 2017, the cryptocurrency world was entering a mania. Although it was on a smaller scale to the one that followed in 2021, it got on Sam's radar.
This is late 2017, when you walk down the streets, you hear two people talking, you're like, that's probably about Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know, but pretty likely.
More importantly, Sam Bankman-fried had spotted something that others had not, and he needed to act fast. In that same year of 2017, Sam and his fellow colleague Tara McCauley start a new company together. They call it Alameda Research. See this? This is it, right here. Everything that was to come. It all begins with Alameda Research.
I never even heard of Alameda Research.
When you look at the name alone, Alameda sounds like a research company. In fact, that was intentional misdirection.
If you name your company like, we do cryptocurrency, Bitcoin arbitrage, no one's going to give you a bank account. That's your company name. But everyone wants to serve a research institute.
Alameda's true purpose was to operate as a cryptocurrency trading firm. In other words, they would be using their own money to invest into crypto-related assets in order to make a profit. But like I mentioned, Sam had noticed something. To purchase Bitcoin, most people use exchanges, and the price of Bitcoin generally remained the same across all exchanges in the world, with one exception. At the time, some countries in Asia had been selling Bitcoin for, in some cases, $5,000 more than what it was on other exchanges. In other words,
so this is like futures trading, I guess, or they're selling some sort of derivative.
You're looking at $5,000 profit per trade sitting on the table. It was practically free money. Just one problem. There were far too many obstacles in the way. Capital controls, financial regulations, anti-money laundering laws, and so on and so forth. Most people couldn't work out how to make the trade. Sam, however, had a card up his sleeve: effective altruism. Thanks to a Japanese member of the EA community, Sam was able to skirt around some of these obstacles. Sam also secured funding from wealthy effective altruist members, specifically a loan for $15 million from Jan Tarlin, the co-founder of Skype. Alameda Research would first buy Bitcoin on a US exchange, then sell it at a higher price on a Japanese exchange with the help of their Japanese friend. Now, the accounts differ on how much this made Alameda Research, some putting the figure at $10 million, others at $30 million. Either way, it was a success. But there's just one problem with opportunities like this. They don't last forever. Once people start to catch on, the markets tend to adjust themselves and it no longer becomes profitable. By January of 2018, Alameda could no longer exploit the opportunity. And then something happened in April. An event that would be kept secret for a long time, an event that would rock the foundations of Sam's first company, an event that would expose a side of his character that would foreshadow much of what was to come in. Sam Bankman-fried always wanted to get into politics since leaving Jane Street many years.
He's the perfect politician, right? He's charismatic. You know, he puts on that facade. Everyone was saying, oh, you don't dress in business suits. Is it possible that that's a facade in order to garner trust of the average American? You know, the average working class citizen? Oh, he's like me. You see this a lot, right? People pandering. Oh, I'm just like you. I drive a Corolla.
Years ago. And in 2021, he had a strong reason to follow that calling.
Binance has kind of been in trouble in a lot of countries in terms of regulatory issues.
Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, and how it just got banned in the United Kingdom.
Binance has been banned from Ontario, Canada.
Not authorized to operate in Japan either.
Throughout that year, regulators across the world were setting their sights on cryptocurrency exchanges, more specifically Binance. You know, the most popular cryptocurrency exchange at the time, owned by a guy called Changpeng Zhao. The UK, Japan, Singapore, Netherlands, and more were all warning Binance that they were not authorized to operate within their countries. Sam wanted to make sure that FTX wouldn't go down that same path.
How have you viewed what's been happening with Binance throughout the world in recent months or weeks?
I guess, something I'll say is that, we try really hard to be as cooperative as we can with regulators.
Then came a sign of hope. In September of 2021,
Can't get over how this dude sounds. It's too much for me.
FTX was granted regulatory approval in the Bahamas. Not long after that, Sam relocated.
That's the thing. He relocated all his head offices to the Bahamas. I think there's a deep dive there, if anyone wants to look into that further. There's got to be something there, right? We see a lot of Americans will go offshore, to various undisclosed islands in order to, evade taxes or hide some of their wealth. I do remember hearing that news, and I knew that was the beginning of the end. Once I heard him moving offshore, I said, oh, he's about to make a move. He's covered in baby oil. He's ready to slip away, folks. Ready to slip away.
It's the headquarters of both FTX and Alameda Research to the city of Nassau.
He must love baby oil. He's bunking with Diddy.
Sam saw the Bahamas as a country that could be at the heart of this industry, a Silicon Valley for crypto.
The arrival and presence of
two slippery guys bunking up together in the same cell. A couple of slippery guys. Just a couple of slippery guys.
FTX underscores the readiness of the Bahamas to be a home for global leaders in the crypto space.
But that wasn't the only place Sam had his eyes on. Throughout 2021, he was looking at another prize, Washington, D.C. Only months after moving to the Bahamas, Sam recruits a new member into the FTX team, a guy called Mark Wetjen. Wetjen was a former commissioner for the CFTC, a regulatory agency in charge of regulating derivative markets in the US. In other words,
what a convenient partnership there.
He was Sam's key to the doors of US politics and regulation. What followed was pretty impressive. Only a month after hiring Wetjen, Sam appeared in Congress to testify for a hearing on digital assets and the future of finance.
Wow, he didn't even have to wear a mask. That's how you know he's a VIP.
The industry has the potential to improve a lot of people's lives. And we're also happy to talk with other regulators about potential products in the United States.
Right there, in that room, Sam was the face of cryptocurrency regulation. I mean, rather than...
He was like Elon Musk's mentor, apparently.
Resisting it, he was embracing it.
That's a joke, guys, obviously.
FTX went on to make regulatory wins throughout 2021. We're talking Japan, Europe, Africa, Australia. They had gone down an entirely different path to Binance. Sam went on to become the 6th largest US political donor in the 2 years leading up to
big shocker
the midterm elections. We're talking an estimated number of $40 million in donations. Other FTX executives had also contributed. I mean, by the end of 2022, political donations associated with SBF and FTX executives exceeded $70 million.
Oy vey.
Sam Bankman-fried is the devil. He is the devil in crypto. This guy's literally trying to ruin crypto.
See, you get guys like this that, you know, they have the documents, as it said, quote unquote, they have the documents, but no one believes them because of how unhinged and crazy they deliver the information. But these guys, they got a lot of valuable info, let me tell you.
Permanent. And you know what he says? Oh, that's not what I'm doing. You liar. You lie, Sam Bankman-fried.
But Sam's political ambition.
Like, would you take this guy seriously? Probably not. But was he right? Absolutely.
They started to rub people the wrong way. One of the bills that Sam had been supporting was known as the DCCPA Act, a bill that would essentially make the CFTC the sole regulator of the crypto industry. But many in the crypto space accused this bill of being destructive to the cryptocurrency ecosystem, that Sam was trying to claim a monopoly on the industry.
Sam Bankman-fried was trying to get some kind of legal monopoly over the crypto industry.
There was kind of this like culture of silence in crypto around not opposing him, opposing his views.
And perhaps it exposed a side to Sam that people hadn't seen before. The part of him that believed that the ends justify the means, or a desire for his crypto empire to come out on.
But I mean, how are these people surprised? They didn't even know the guy. You see people do this in their relationships too, like their romantic relationships. Like people will just go all in on a chick they just met freaking 2 weeks ago. I saw recently a Powerball winner. He found some chick from his area, and she's like a babe. And this dude is like not that good looking, right? Let me find homeboy. I'm not gonna find this. There's a Powerball winner, and this guy is freaking. He's overweight. He's not, he's not a good looking guy, right? No homo intended. But this guy, he found some chick, and he's convinced that she's in love with him, and he can't believe his great fortune. First he won the Powerball, now he found this beautiful love of his life. And it's just, where do these people get this idea that they meet someone new and they could go all in on them? How could you say you saw a new side to the guy when you just met him last week?
Top, no matter what. If people would know what had happened at Alameda Research in 2018 during that month of April, then perhaps everyone might have seen it coming. Co-founder of Alameda Research, Tara McCauley, was growing frustrated. Not just her, but many of the Alameda Research employees. Whilst their initial trades of Bitcoin between the US and Japan had been successful, they were now losing money. And most of that blame was being put on the other co-founder, Sam Bankman-fried. And there was this growing concern over Sam's alleged reckless actions, including poor trading decisions being made by him. In a post made on the Effective Altruism forum, an alleged employee describes how he constantly displayed a flagrant disregard for legal structures and safeguards, a belief that rules do not apply to him, an inclination.
Well, I mean, you saw him without the mask. I mean, come on, let's go.
To see the ends justifying the means. I mean, the picture that they painted of this guy was not of a genius.
Guys, reminder, he was a vegan, right? So he's not very trustworthy.
But of a young, inexperienced, reckless individual who was harming the company with poor management and trading decisions. So Tara, along with other high-level employees, decide to confront Sam. I mean, they tell him directly, you have to leave the company. Your behavior can no longer be tolerated. That month of April will be known internally as the April fiasco. Sam's response? He refused to leave. Not long after that, Tara McCauley and close to half the employees at Alameda, many of whom were effective altruists, quit. Allegedly, those former employees raised concerns to higher members in the effective altruism community, warning of Sam's reckless behavior and how he was a bad representative for the
EA. How did they not get sued by the gaming company?
Movement. Those allegations were supposedly ignored or not taken seriously. This piece of the puzzle right here, it's the one that foreshadows everything. But by the time people would find out about the April fiasco, it would already be too late. With a large chunk of his employees gone from Alameda Research, Sam had to re-establish his team. First, you've got Gary Wang. I mean, he joined Alameda Research from its inception, at only 24 years old. Wang supposedly met Sam at a math summer camp in 2008. He was very much the technical...
I like how they say supposedly, because you can't really be sure now anything related to this story.
...brains of the business. Nishad Singh, Facebook employee only 5 months before joining Alameda Research, age 21 years old. Much like Wang, he helped with the technical infrastructure at Alameda. Then you have Caroline Ellison. Remember her? The former colleague of Sam's at Jane Street who saw him quit?
Oh, I remember her. I saw her face all over the place. And I said she didn't look trustworthy. Traitor.
Turns out Sam managed to convince her to leave that job. She joined Alameda Research not long before the April fiasco as a trader. Then we've got Andy Krogan, former employee to another trading firm and now the chief operating officer of Alameda Research. He was the adult in the room. Krogan had once told Sam to cut his hair.
Cool.
To which
bad joke.
Sam replied, "I think it's important for people to think I look crazy." Now, when you look at this team, one thing sticks out. They're very young. With a trading firm like Alameda Research, the more money they have access to, the more they can trade and the more they can profit. So the Alameda team decides to put together a pitch deck, a presentation that's designed to attract potential investors to invest their funds with Alameda. I mean, it was filled with all sorts of insane claims. We're the best crypto trading firm in the United States. We haven't had a losing week in 6 months. They boasted high returns of 15% with no risk. These loans have no downside. I mean, to claim no risk and to say that they hadn't had a losing week, which seems to go against all accounts of what happened during the April fiasco. It felt as though Alameda was desperate for money. It's unlikely that this...
How is it possible they could say they never had a losing? It's like, I got no losing trades. You see this a lot with the dating coaches online, male and female. They never take L's, only W's. The male dating coaches have 150 girl rotation, crazy roster. The female dating coaches, they're on yachts every weekend. You know, every dude they ever dated was a freaking multimillionaire. It's crazy. And people take them seriously. Like, oh, this guy has only dubs. It's like, what do you know anyone in your life that has only dubs? Y'all don't know me, let me tell you.
Pitch deck was successful, but I guess that didn't matter because Sam had been...
You know, that's a joke because everyone takes L's. If you see these people toting themselves like they don't take L's ever, no matter how small, you know, people, sometimes you take lowercase L's, right? But these people that say, you know, they told themselves, oh, like this trading firm, oh yeah, we just have a perfect winning streak. Even Warren Buffett wouldn't make that claim.
Been working on a secret project.
So you got involved because you thought it would be a creative new area to get involved with?
I always wanted to start an exchange because it just seemed like really important products in the crypto ecosystem that were worth a lot.
You see, crypto exchanges make their money by charging a fee for every trade a person makes on their platform, right? So in other words, they make money regardless of whether the person making the trade is losing money. In May of 2019, Sam launches a brand new cryptocurrency exchange, FTX. He would be the majority owner, whilst Gary Wang, who helped build the infrastructure for
Gary Wang
would own 10%. Sam now owned both a cryptocurrency exchange and a cryptocurrency trading firm. See, there's something already bizarre about this one, and not just the fact that these companies are being run by young and arguably inexperienced people, but also the conflict of interest. Sam owning an exchange is fine, whatever, but owning his own trading firm, Alameda Research...
I think, if anything, this proves that being young doesn't necessarily mean that you are incompetent, because Sam was very deliberate and competent in the moves he made, right? Albeit that those moves were malicious. So this whole, oh, they were so young. I don't like this infantilization that Western countries do, where everybody's a child, everybody's a baby until they're 37 years old. These are grown adults. These are people in their 20s. You know, 100 years ago, people in their 20s, like a man in his 20s would be managing his own farm. Woman in her 20s would have 3 kids already. Like, come on.
Which uses FTX as a platform. You see, that opens up a gaping hole. For example, how exactly does FTX ensure that no special...
Diddy's now opening up a gaping hole in Sam's you-know-where
privileges are given to Alameda? The Super Bowl of February 2020.
Those of you that did not get that joke, Sam Bankman-fried, this is the reason why we're watching this little docu-series. Sam Bankman-fried, crypto frauder, is bunkmates with Diddy. Unbelievable.
Was this defining moment for the crypto space. I mean, some even called it the crypto bomb.
One of them is guilty. No, I'm just kidding.
Because of how many crypto-related companies were advertising during the event. These companies had grown incredibly rich over the last few years, riding the waves of new investors from both institutions and regular people, all handing over their cash.
It's definitely been an exciting year across crypto.
Bitcoin has a great track to 100K by the year end.
The bright orange future that is Bitcoin.
One of the cellmates is a vile, disgusting man who takes advantage of people and crushes everyone around him. The other is Diddy.
When you're riding high on the good times,
everyone and their mother was like, yeah, Bitcoin to 100K, to 1 million, to 10 million in 10 years.
The notion that the music building for the last few years could stop.
I had everything in crypto. And against my better judgment, I didn't cash out.
Seems impossible.
I'm not an expert and I don't need to be.
I'm not an expert and I don't need to be. Quote by Stephen Curry.
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
Does that look like Jared from Subway? Like he just freaking lost weight and now he's promoting freaking crypto.
Until.
Is he out of jail yet? This guy, very trustworthy. Am I right, folks?
I don't think so. Until it does. FTX already started off successful. I mean, thanks to Alameda Research, they were able to provide volume to the exchange right from the jump. By July 2019, SBF was already in talks with investors. By August that same year, they managed to raise $8 million. Not only were they getting investments from venture capital firms, they were also raising money from their competition. You remember Binance, right? The top crypto exchange owned by a guy called CZ? Well, in December of that year, Binance invested an undisclosed amount into FTX, also taking an equity ownership in the company. It sparked what seemed to be a friendly relationship between CZ and SBF. Little did Sam realize that the very man who invested that money into his company would deal the final blow to his empire years later. But perhaps one of their smartest moves was the creation of FTT, a piece of the puzzle that would become instrumental in the years to come. See, in the world of cryptocurrencies, anyone can start their own coin. I mean, all they are is programmable money put on.
All they are is programmable money, but it's the future, folks. So yeah, a lot of these crypto people are completely nutty, completely crazy, and want nothing to do with that. That's for sure. In other news, Jeff Bezos tied the knot with his fiancée, and I find it hilarious because someone like Jeff Bezos, he's got a ton of money. No one's disputing that, right? The guy's freaking loaded. But I always say that money does not make the man, right? If you don't have sauce, if you don't have the drip, right? If you don't have game, all the money in the world, you'll still be a lame, right? So I've made the argument several times that Jeff Bezos doesn't really have game, right? He's got all the money in the world. He's got all these resources. He's got properties around the world. He's got a Lambo yacht. He's got this. He's got that. He's got a super yacht. But does he have game? And the thing is, if we look at this lovely canon of history here, Gucci Mane explaining the sauce, you will understand. And when this interviewer did this interview, it was a very misunderstood topic, the sauce, right? It's basically the concept of you can have basically the world, but if you don't have the real sauce, right? The sauce developed by life experience, wisdom that you attain through life experience, these things that you cannot buy. You know, you're seasoned by your experiences. This is what Gucci was trying to say, but this reporter did not understand. It just goes to show that when you say something and people don't understand what you've said, they will often claim that what you said did not make sense, or that's the ending that they find themselves at, is that because they didn't understand it, it didn't make sense. But Gucci was talking pure sense. And if you look at Gucci Mane now, he fully implemented this in his life.
Hard to be fresh if you don't have money, or can you still pull it off?
See, when I ain't had no money, I still had sauce. So if you don't got no sauce, then you're lost. But you also get lost in the sauce.
You can also get lost in the sauce. That's very true.
You can get how you get lost in the sauce?
Young Pharaoh got lost in the sauce.
A bitch gonna get lost in the sauce, man.
Bitches always get lost in the sauce. You see a chick, once a chick gets a couple ounces of game, she on OF, she thinks she's gonna be the next Pamela Anderson.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, man.
I'm sprinkling sauce, dropping sauce over the street, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I dig it.
Overdose of sauce.
That's what it is.
No meat, just sauce.
When you're born, can you be born with sauce, or do you acquire
no,
sauce?
You can't born with sauce.
You get sauce. You get sauce from.
How you gonna be born with seasoning?
How you gonna be born with seasoning? See, the dude say, he has no idea what Gucci Mane's saying, but this is real talk, real wisdom. And Gucci Mane said it. You cannot be born with sauce because you acquire sauce. He even says it at the end of the interview.
I wasn't born without the sauce. I had to acquire the sauce.
How to acquire the sauce, right? You had to acquire the sauce. Sauce you acquire, right? Wisdom, life experience, you acquire over time. So a lot of people who become quite successful, they never were weathered in these streets, but for real, they were never weathered in a way that gave them certain life experiences. Of course, I'm not taking away anything from Jeff Bezos. This guy is a business mogul. I'm sure he could walk into any room, control the room, do a business negotiation. When it comes to men, when it comes to being a shark in business, in management, Jeff Bezos is at the top, right? He's top of the world in his class when it comes to doing that. But interacting with women is a very different thing. Very different thing. And you either got it or you don't. This is why you see homeless men, homeless dudes got chicks. You see dudes that on welfare, they got chicks. Public assistance, food stamps, they got chicks. You see dudes that ain't got no job, no car, they got chicks. But then you'll see people who are quite successful in terms of their career, their finances are, balanced, and they're quite comfortable financially. They have quite a bit of financial freedom, but they struggle with women. And that's because they do not have sauce. You have to acquire the sauce, folks. So just to give you an example here, this is sauce, right? Leonardo DiCaprio, pure sauce versus Jeff Bezos. Look at that look, right? This is her man over here. This is Leonardo, right? Controlling the tone, right? Leonardo got the sauce right here. This is real things. Any dude that knows about this can look at this and understand exactly what I'm talking about. She's magnetized. She's and Jeff is almost like trying to get involved in the conversation. He's like trying to step to Leo, right? He trying to get up all in there, right? Jeff trying to get up in Leo's grill, right? But this is the type of thing that can be bought. That's why you look at a Drake, right? You look at a dude like Drake, people are gonna say, oh, it's his height, this and that. You got enough short dudes, you got dudes shorter than Bezos that got enough girls, right? Because they just have sauce. All it is. Watch that again. You can't fake this, guys. You can't fake that. Bezos is cheesed. And then he married this woman. Congratulations to Bezos, let me tell you. But folks, I'm telling you, you cannot manufacture the sauce. You cannot purchase the sauce. It's just, it's either you got it or you don't, folks. What can I tell you? So that concludes this hilarious. Just going back, recap. Sam Bankman-fried gives interview from prison, and he Diddy's bunkmate. Let me show you all this again. One more time. Again, this is not AI, folks.
From prison.
As ABC's Andrea Fujii reports, it turns out he's now roommates with rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs.
This morning, the former poster boy of crypto, who prosecutors said perpetrated one of the biggest financial frauds in history, is speaking out from behind bars. Sam Bankman-fried, co-founder of FTX, talking to Tucker Carlson.
It's sort of dystopian. The fortunate thing, the place I'm in, I'm not in physical danger.
Can't get you can't make this up.
In 2023, Bankman-fried was convicted in connection with his cryptocurrency exchange firm stealing $8 billion of customer money. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Now, in a surprising twist, he says he shares a dormitory-style bunk with music mogul and accused sex trafficker Sean Diddy Combs.
Can't make this up, folks. This is the rabbit hole in all its glory. This is why people go down the rabbit hole. This is freaking hilarious. Sam Bankman-fried sharing a cell with our boy Diddy. Again, one of them is a vile, disgusting thief, manipulator, who steps on the people around him. And the other is Diddy, folks. That concludes our live stream for today. We'll see if Diddy gets free. Like I said, he may be the worst person on earth. He may be, an abuser. He may be a womanizer. He may be beating them hoes. He may be doing all type of jazz, right? He may be putting on the baby oil thick, taking it up the booty, right? But what they are accusing him of, is he guilty of that? That's what's very important here. That's what we're going to find out. So, folks, thank you for joining. Shout out to y'all on Twitch. If y'all just joined, you can rewind and check out the live stream. Very informative, as usual. Diddy is cellmates with Sam Bankman-fried. Thanks for watching, guys.